So whether my image was with Revlon or 50 Most Beautiful People for People magazine and really touching a nerve that women were so sick and tired of being put into a category. I just was one of those supermodels that was a part of the offering that just had more of a curve. And that's how I kind of looked at that.
Hey there, sunshines. I cannot tell you how excited I am to share this week's episode because I've been holding on to this conversation for a long time. And you know what? The time is now. The time is now to share this one because this topic really does strike a chord with me. And it probably has my entire life because someone who has struggled with positive body image like myself, from the time I was a child up until adulthood and moments in between. And listen, I'm a former fit model. I've been an athlete. I've been in the best optimal physical shape in my life at many times, different courses of my life. But still, there are times when I don't feel good. I don't feel healthy. And that inner bully steps in and I start to question my value based on my appearance. And that's not good. That is not a positive place to be. And even with the tools I have to remind myself to retrain the brain, to bring myself back, to realize that I can change my thoughts, moods, and habits and behaviors, right? And it's one of the reasons why I have this podcast so that I can share these tools with you and share the kinds of guests we have that have their own value to share. So with that being said, I want to know if that's something you struggle with. If body image is something you have struggled with for some time, let me know about it. Leave your voice message at speakpipe.com/HIListically Speaking. And I can pretty much guarantee you, aside from me, you are not alone in this battle. I want to know what's on your mind, what you're feeling, how that is going for you, what's coming up for you. Because honestly, the courage of sharing your vulnerability is the most powerful thing you can possibly do because you're not alone. And the beauty is, or the true beauty is that you have choices. You have choices of what you think, how you put that information out there, and really how you go within, because the loudest voice is really your own, right? And that confidence shift really begins within. But if you're like, oh, Hil, I need help. I don't think I could do this alone. I already quit my resolution and I'm struggling and I'm a failure. Oh, no. We're not going to go there. And I actually have some really exciting news for you. The Havening Happy Hours are returning online. And all you have to do is register for the upcoming event and you are in. It's a chance to give Havening a try. It's a chance to have a little fun with others in the room, a community, and it's a chance to be guided by me to learn more about neuroscience and how it can be on your side. Because listen, we all struggle. We have different struggles in different areas, but there is true power in community. So, as we close out this first month of the year, it's also rather common to be at that make it or break it point with all those resolutions you set. And I'm not a big fan of resolutions. I prefer to call them revelations. The beauty is that each day could be your day one. Each day is a chance to start over. So I'm going to show you how to do that on January 31st during the Havening Happy Hour. Details to register for the online event are in the listen notes. So definitely take advantage of that and join me because it's been a couple months. We haven't done this in a while. And there's also no better time to do that body and mind positive recheck and reframe, right? And my guest this week knows all about that. Emme has been called the godmother of the full-figured woman by Oprah, right? She's graced the cover of more magazines than I can count. And she's been chosen to be People Magazine's 50 Most Beautiful People, not once, but twice. And when it comes to fashion, when it comes to wellness, when it comes to beauty, this former supermodel is a trailblazer and she is a disruptor. But this isn't about disrupting the fashion and beauty industry. That's not what we're talking about. This is about finding your true beauty and reminding the younger generation, this next generation, how to be kind to their minds. Or as Emme puts it, feel extraordinarily free in their bodies and their minds. I love that. That is where we're going on this week's Holistically Speaking. Emme, it is such a pleasure to have you here on Holistically Speaking. So I got to start out by saying we are recording this on World Kindness Day, which is November 13th. And when you booked this day, I thought, what better way to share my Monday than with one of the kindest people I've had a chance to get to know, and someone who so many people know from just a distance, but having you here and being able to share this time with you. And hopefully people will get to know you from being on this podcast. So thank you for being here.
Hilary, thank you so, so much. I've been looking forward to it. I saw in my planner this weekend that we were going to chat today. And I said, what a great way to start the Monday. And it's World Kindness Day. And what better shout out for all of us to take responsibility on being kind to ourselves and letting that spill over to anybody that's near us, right? Yeah.
Definitely. And Kindness Day should be every day. It should be every day, especially like you said, starting within. And I know that is such a big part of what you share. You've been such a motivator and an inspiration to women for decades. And, you know, coming from this trusted space in fashion and wellness and beauty, and now moving into that space of mental health, where you're really supporting your own emotional well-being, but that of others. This is just such a great time for us to explore this more and see people who are so recognized like yourself share this powerful message. And so I want to just start there. You and I were connected. I know you have this powerful organization that you are just building, and that's the True Beauty Foundation. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. And I just want to take a step back for a second. The cool thing that's happening in a lot of folks' lives is that they are moving away from what they were doing and establish themselves, like yourself, and moving into an area that is deeply personal, deeply meaningful, maybe holistically speaking on how it just ties up all the loose ends. And the timing couldn't be any more perfect. So thank you for allowing me to just put that in. My departure from doing all the modeling, and I will, I really am so appreciative and grateful for the start that I had, and before that, being a journalist and all that. Going into the True Beauty Foundation and founding it, and then establishing it with a wonderful board of directors. Our mission is to improve youth mental wellness through programs and events that involve friends and family. And it really is a whole court press to get people outside, to get people to understand that when there's children around, be aware of what we're saying within the home. And when the child is with other friends, to give them a couple of emotional tools to put into their toolbox to go, someone is being bullied. Do I just sit back and watch this? Or do I grab an adult? Or do I, try and sit with that kid that is sitting by themselves alone at lunch? Or do you just, walk by and say, oh, that's too bad, too sad for someone? Or you just kind of just pull up your bootstraps and take, be more compassionate. I think it starts from when kids are very, very young, and in the household when parents are just so busy not having dinners at home around the table where you hear what's going on. Kindness towards oneself, building upon one's self-esteem really is a home court press. We have to begin when children are young. So the foundation is foundational in my life. And I was doing all this work already. And I just thought, you know what? Let's just make it official. And, I'm excited. I'm going to be going to a wellness day in my local community in northern New Jersey. And I just learned and got certified in crystal bowl sound healing to help kids holistically feel at ease, teach them about breath, teach them about how you could just, if someone's bullying you, you can do some deep breaths, not like in front of them, but just to get your body equalized and neutralized so that you're not in a reaction and get into a fight with someone, or you can just walk away. So it's wonderful. I'm loving being a part of this foundation, and I appreciate you asking me to start off talking about it.
Well, the self-regulation and teaching kids those tools, giving them the power to put the emotional well-being back in their own hands is what I always say, especially in the work I do, because we complement each other so well with the sound healing, with the havening. There's such a beautiful complementary approach. And it's really about putting more of that brain candy, as I call it, in the brain candy jar, to
Ooh,
use whenever you need it.
yes,
And I've been talking about that for so long. And to see that kids need movement and music. They need different ways to be kind to themselves, be kind to their mind.
mm,
So this is such a beautiful way and approach, this is such a beautiful approach that you're bringing. And look, in this day and age, you're a gal I know from growing up myself. You were that first, as they called it in the day, the plus size supermodel, which I want to get into conscious language as well.
right.
And somebody who was inspiring to maybe not being the girl that, you know, the media was putting out there to be the model woman, right? And now in this day and age, that it's really comes from within. It's the empowering side of ourselves. So with your time as a model, as the most famous supermodel in the plus size category, as we would call it back then, you faced your own trials and tribulations in that area, right? And I'm curious about that and how it has moved you to this space where you are now as this amazing coach and wellness advocate.
So there's a lot there, and we could definitely.
Yeah.
So I've been very, very honored to give a different look of what beauty is. Whether you're curvy, whether you're straight, all different women really relate to a person that says all bodies are beautiful. Period. Whether you're
Mhm.
deemed plus size, I never really appreciated that term at all. I
Mhm.
really. I'm an Amazon, I'm an athlete, and I was never going to lose weight to get into the straight size industry. And so when I fell into the full figured industry, um, everyone would say, "Oh, you look so normal. You don't look like you're a
Mhm.
model." And I said, "Well, this is what I do." So you work with what you do, and having the lens of a journalist prior to going into
Mhm.
this industry that was so skewed and exclusive, where everybody has to wear clothes. Everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to um, feel like they fit in either with their own style and being a unique individual or being a part of the group that says this is what's in for fashion. And I always say, just don't do what other people are doing. Wear what's really right for you.
Mm.
So whether my image was in with Revlon or 50 Most Beautiful People for People magazine and really touching a nerve that women were so sick and tired of being put into a category. I just was
Mhm.
one of those supermodels that was a part of the offering that just had more of a curve. And that's how I kind of looked at that. Today, it's there's a lot of women that are just saying, why are we still being put into an unrealistic ideal of beauty? And then you add on top of that the bullying that's going on for their
Mhm.
children in school. And you just kind of say, well, we've got to forge our own path. What feels
Mhm.
right for us? Do we, I always say, being athletic, and I do coach people through with, being active versus non-active. And I said, would you keep your dog inside the house for 2 weeks without going
Mm.
outside, not being active, not, oh, I would never do that. I said, so not saying that we're dogs, but we have to look at ourselves as physical homes and temples and encasements of our soul. Our bodies, in order to work effectively and efficiently, need to go for a walk. You need to, take yourself for a walk, even if it's just during 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Oh, I'm too busy. Well, you're not too busy if you want to give yourself the benefit of health. And I'm not telling
Mhm.
you to get thin or to get larger. I'm just saying your cells need to move around. Your blood needs to move
Mhm.
around. So trying to break it down for folks to not see being fit or being healthy as taking away anything from them, but actually putting money into the bank for their health and longevity, so they can move, they can be flexible, and that they can have joy and excitement and life live through them, instead of feeling sick and going to the doctor and going to the hospital because they just didn't want to be conforming to an ideal that wasn't right. So we're trying to just clear all that space away to go, time to live, time to have joy.
Right. It's living in a space where you're your own healthcare advocate first, right? Because we hear this whole, absolutely. And you hear we live in a sick care system, not a healthcare system. I mean, there's so much stuff out there,
don't even go
right?
farther. That's huge.
Yeah, that is huge. Living in that sick care system over the healthcare system is a huge distinction.
What do you think? I mean, the healthcare system is already trying to help people with disconnection, dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
So in the wellness community, it feels like the wellness initiatives are bridging the gap through non-activity to working towards prophylactically being healthy. What can you do to help yourself not be in the healthcare system? Yeah. The word healthcare system almost needs to change. It's not really promoting health. It's helping you out of dis-ease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not getting to the root cause, really. It's putting the Band-Aid on things. And that's why we have to be our own healthcare advocates. We have to be our own advocates, period. I imagine for you, coming from the fashion industry, the model industry, at a time where it was very different than what we're seeing now. We are seeing more of just people in general, models, celebrities, being allowed to show their true self without all the editing, without all the photoshopping. And you were doing that. You were trying to push for that back then. But how has it been for you? I mean, moving in that direction now that you're seeing things change in that direction for the better?
Oh, I'm delighted. I'm really happy that for a while there, I was singing a song. It was a solo journey. However, there were some models before me, and there is certainly younger models now that didn't want to have that door close. And they pushed that door open really hard and wide. And there's no turning back. I think that to have inclusive fashion being reflected helps not only business, really making a lot of money for the department stores and for designers to keep doing it. I don't like seeing the full-figured end of the business always fall off when business goes poorly. It really is, because the majority of women are above a size 14 in this country. So they still need to go to work. They still need to go to celebrations and weddings and funerals and all that kind of stuff. So to get rid of the clothing lines that really do need the women that need it is really not the solution. But it's a great celebration when you go into some of the name brand department stores and you see the forms. There are more straight size, there's medium size, and there's curvier, there's more larger size. Yeah. Well, that's who we are. Finally, I think we're getting to a place of equity, which is wonderful.
There was a time when I was doing fit modeling.
Oh,
and I remember
wasn't in your bio.
I was a fit model. I was in New York not too long ago, within the last 10 years. But I remember being in that, as a size, I was a size 8, and that put me in the quote unquote plus size category. And I thought that, oh yes. And to me, it felt a little icky, because I'm like, look, I have, like you, I'm an athlete. I've tried to take care of myself, but I'll tell you, there are women that are size 20 out there that can probably run like rings around me, because I hate running.
A lot of triathletes.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure. It's like when I saw that, I'm like, God, what is that image putting out there? Like size 8 is plus. Plus, that word just bothers me so much.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you change the language, the conscious languaging to, I love curvy. I think curvy is a beautiful word. I don't mind being called that.
Mm.
But even those who aren't curvy on the other end of the spectrum that might have a slimmer build, it's the beauty is within first, but then it's also really how we talk to ourselves, like what you said earlier. It's really that first. That's how we
The-
change the system is by this is how I'm going to be identified as. And now you're going to follow this suit.
hmm. Well, it's actually, this is how I identify, period. That's it. You cannot
Yeah.
change anybody. It's, whenever I would go on, and if we try to change other people, there, you had mentioned that I had tried to change the industry. I just kept showing up.
As
I
you.
was speaking, I was
Right.
speaking up. I was communicating as a journalist, quite frankly,
Mhm.
from the inside out. I was asking questions. I was doing the research. I was reflecting what I was finding. And when I was going on the road, I was sharing the stories of lots and lots of women at fashion shows across the United States and just going on CNN and sharing
Mhm.
what I was hearing, and also from the men that that they love women in general, whether they're small or medium or larger. Men were saying, I just wish my wife would not beat herself up anymore. And
Yeah.
this was a woman who is size 2, a woman who's size 8, a woman who is size 20, 32, whatever. The women that were seen as the ideal were the ones that were using most of the diet related products through research. And
Mhm.
so even the women that were visually seen as beautiful were the ones that were struggling so much
Mhm.
trying to maintain this abnormal ideal. So, with the messaging that we're leaving all your listeners today is be true to who you are. And if that's 20 or up, or if that's 20 or down, figure out what the right thing for you is and
Mhm.
just be accountable to yourself. Have you hydrated enough? Have you slept enough? I just did 10 hours and then I had 3 hour nap. I was exhausted yesterday. I never lay down for a 3 hour nap, but I felt my body. I'm doing sound healing and something I think kind of triggered me to just shut it down. And I laid down, even with my boots on. I was that tired. And I just listened. I laid down. I was out, got up, ate, brought some things upstairs. I went out for another 10 hours. Rarely does that happen, but
Mhm.
listening when you're hungry. Like, don't play around with your food. Don't play around. If it's saturated with lots and high fats and lots of sugar, well, if you're dragging your butt by the end of the day, look into
There's a
how to
reason
eat.
why.
There's a
Yeah.
reason. There's a reason
Yeah.
why. So we're the keepers of our soul. We're the keepers of
Yeah.
our body. So no one else is going to do it for us. And it doesn't
Mhm.
mean anymore that you should fit in to be ultra thin or ultra large or in the middle, but you only know what's going to be right for you. I always say,
Yeah,
take
listening to
someone
your body
who's,
for sure.
yeah, the Cooper Institute down in Dallas. If you want to do your own research, I always try and share my sources. Check out what they've been taking a look at. They see that athletes, to your point, Hilary, there's diversity out there
Mhm.
now in marathons as well as with triathlons. Whenever I do a triathlon, I love seeing my other participants. They're tiny, they're larger, all with a smile, all out there doing their training. So it's, listen, one size does not fit all with fitness, health,
Mhm.
and happiness.
No.
No way.
What's your favorite activity to do? What's your favorite workout? Or are you still doing triathlons? Let me just let me just ask you that.
Well, I have to say, I really do not like running. I don't
I
like it.
hear
I've
you.
never liked it.
Me
I have
neither.
plotted through my triathlon. So I do, I would like to do a duathlon
Mhm.
or I would like to be a part of a triathlon today, starting, this year.
Mhm.
But I've done a few. I liked doing the Dan Skins. I want to get into the lymphatic, a lymphoma
Mhm.
foundation does a triathlon. but I would like to not have to run. I love swimming. I could do that in a snap. I love doing the biking, 15, 20, 25 miles. Okay, great. You just have to get your sit bones um, dealt with, because if you jump on a bike and do 50 miles, which unfortunately one year I did do a crazy MS foundation, fundraiser, and you just don't do that. You can't do that. I would not suggest doing that. But I love snowshoeing. My favorite is getting out in the snow and playing like a little kid. And everyone thinks I have a couple extra snowshoes so that someone that might come over and say, "Oh, I'd like to try." I'd like to throw them in. Yeah, I know.
I'd love to. I'm right down the road from you. Let's go snowshoeing. I love a good challenge. I did Outward Bound in Colorado Rockies when I was in college, and we were on snowshoes the whole time. I'm like, who am I? Where am I? How am I going to survive this?
How was that experience for you?
It was amazing. It was amazing. And it's something that I highly recommend, especially for in the, teen to early 20s, you really get in touch with who you are. You really do, and realize how important teamwork is and how important you need to listen and trust your gut. And I know you have a daughter, right?
I do. She's 22.
I did it when I was 20.
It's so wonderful that you did that, Hilary.
Yeah. Yeah. But just touching on that, I remember being on snowshoes on the first time. I'm like, this is a workout.
Yeah.
This is a workout.
So I had, we have a municipal park nearby, and we did a labyrinth when the snow really came a few years ago. And we started from the beginning, and went all the way around, and we made it large enough so that in 2020, all the community that would like to come out and do, snowshoeing, we would meet at 4:00 when the sun was setting. And when you would go into the side and then do the outer rim and in and then go in the middle and then you go on out, it was about a 3.2, 3.3 mile kind of session. And so we would start at different times so that we weren't too close to one another and breathing, with COVID being crazy. It was a great way to be outside. And yes, it's hard, but you start slowly and you wear lots and lots of layers. And by the time that you're done, you're stripping and you wrap around your waist. You strip and you wrap around your waist, and you will be down to your layer and then the very, very bottom. And then at the end, you're walking out. And then you're like, oh, okay, time to put it back on. You put everything back on and you exit. So I just want to encourage everybody, with the snow that we're supposed to be getting this year, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Get out and just go slow and do it step by step. And then after you do it every day, honestly, get out there, do a little bit. You're going to be really happy that you refreshed your mind. It's really about getting out of the house at all different seasons and throwing a snowball and
having a little fun with it.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. I
love that.
did tell my neighbors. My neighbor came out with a flask of brandy and put in the middle. So with little cups, little paper cups, to motivate the rest of us to come. And you got to have fun.
You have to have fun, because sometimes it's, when you put the word work and workout, sometimes you're like,
play out. Maybe
right, play out. Something. We gotta come up with something, because sometimes the word work in anything can just deter people. I don't want to do that, right? Even if you feel better after, right? Like, I never give homework to my clients or even my students, the students that I teach as a professor. I'm like, let's call it something else, like a challenge or a possibility. I mean, language matter. I don't want to do homework. Why would I give it to somebody?
Language does matter.
I like that. Yes, yeah. But I love that idea. And as I imagine the idea of being on the water, which you love, that comes from your time back in college, because you were on the crew team, right?
I was, yes.
I love that. Me too, but not like you. You were like big time. And I think, were you considering Olympic trials as well?
I was invited to Olympic trials in Princeton in 1984, and I had a choice to make. I was to either become an intern at the WTBH station in Syracuse, the CBS affiliate, the first job that's going to be on my resume to help me get the other work that I was able to get, or I was going to go into the Olympics, having had 7 years of rowing underneath my belt. I really, at the time I did not have the funding to be an Olympic athlete. And I don't think we could have had sponsors. And I'm not sure that you could do that now, maybe. But I chose to go through news and take this opportunity for a sports team.
Mm.
At the WTVH, the news director said, I'm never going to hire a female in my sports group. And got to tell you, after a year of trying to get in and sending cookies and doing whatever it was, when he finally said yes, and I also got the invitation the same 3-week period, it was very difficult, but I have no regrets. I truly feel that my life on this journey, being in TV and having the background in news, has always kept my curiosity piqued and kept my ear open to possibly what might not be being said,
Yeah.
and bringing up and listening to what so many women continue to send me notes about. And, I'm walking into a new phase. I'm going to be moving soon and getting out to LA. My daughter is out there now. And I feel that a bit of that body work that I was doing in the 90s and early 2000s might be coming back again. So we'll see. Joy.
Open to possibilities, right? The joy and the possibilities that are before you, and using what you've brought with you. Like, I think about that all the time as a journalist as well. We're used to listening. We're used to being open to listening to conversations, to holding space for other people telling their stories, right? And it brings about this beautiful curiosity, I think, that not only is about the other person, but ourselves. So here you are in this next phase of your life, you too. And we have to think about what is next in this part of our journey, this second half of our lives, where back then there wasn't the mother that you were, there wasn't, a wife, or you were somebody living on your own journey. And here you are having to think of other people. Right. So I imagine that makes a big difference in how you are cultivating this next part of your journey.
Well, I'm an empty nester. I'm excited also to be open to the love of my life. I don't know who that is, but I'm looking to shake things up and maintain these wonderful friends that I've had in a very suburban, and everyone's married around here. And I thought, it's time. I really am looking for this really special guy, and I have to go and shift where I'm at and be gutsy enough to go, okay, let's just keep doing what you love to do, but maybe in a different environment.
This is a new area for you. You've been diving into the holistic wellness more so. And I know sound healing is so important to you. You mentioned it a little earlier in this conversation, but how did that come into your life? Why is it so important?
It has definitely taken me on an incredible journey to helping serve some of my clients that are having a hard time sleeping. I personally, in 2020, could not handle aggressive communications, whether it was with people or with news on TV. And I felt like I was betraying my trade with potting down the volume on the amount of news that I was watching, amount of TV in general that I was watching. And I found that I was listening to tones in my office when I was working, like low. And I thought, what is this? What is going on with me? And when I started looking into what tones out there are good for the body, just Googling it, I started seeing solfeggio frequencies pop up. And the more that I started seeing solfeggio frequencies pop up, I have an account with Spotify. So I went on Spotify to see all the chakras. Are there frequencies for this lampshade, for my hand, for my body, for my glasses? Are there frequencies for everything? Yes, there is. So I started putting playlists together for crown, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral, and root chakras. And then I started doing playlists for sleep, the tones that would really help you sleep. And when I would send that to my coaching clients, I would get messages like, what the hell is going on? I slept throughout the night, or my anxiety is reducing. And I took it one step further and I started really falling in love with Tibetan sound bowls. And then I just really got turned on with crystal sound bowls. And when I turned 60 this summer, I told my family, I want sound bowls, because they're like, what do you want? What do you want? I said, just really, if you all want to go in on this, this will be great. So now I am doing sound healing after hours on the weekends. And I have Sunday as sacred. That's my day for just myself. But I did do a sound healing at my high school, and we expanded from where we once were, and we went into this larger space. Now we have to expand yet again. And also with the places that I'm going to now, I'm waiting for my new municipal library to approve my proposal, because we need space. People know about this, and they're looking for simple ways to calm the body, calm the mind, and to not do it with pills or anything. And it's all non-invasive. So all you have to do is just relax and do the deep breathing, and off you go.
Yeah, I loved the first time I did sound bath and sound healing, and I love actually incorporating into the work I do. We need that. Like, our body is a vibration. It's all about the vagus nerve, you know? So the fact that you're doing this and you're bringing this into your own life, I imagine it has helped you just in your own healing and wellness.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yes, it has. Yeah. And the work that I've been doing around the body, our bodies are these magnificent receptors. And if we can help our body have the kind of reception that is calming, and we can listen to it, that's the whole part that's really fun for me. I feel like I've just gone deeper into the body work that I started out 30 years with. And it is more spiritual. It is a more, you can't really touch it and feel it, you know, but people walk away going, what just happened? This is amazing.
I did that. I was like, what just happened in my body? What? And I want more of it.
That's right. And I always say to everyone, what did I just say? So going in, I go, I want you drinking tons of water. I want you to relax. And then when people are leaving, I go, what did I say? Drink water. Because you have to. It shakes everything up inside.
Yeah. I imagine for you, and this is part of a journey that was part of, well, actually, it was 2007, right? You were diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and you are clear. Yeah.
100%.
Like, 100%. First of all, love hearing that. But having that kind of a scare, is that when you really started bringing in these holistic approaches, and you're like, I got to take care of my body because the body keeps the score?
Oh, the body does keep the score. And that's a really good book too. That's an incredible book.
It is a good book.
I got slapped by the universe with cancer. That was my biggest, boldest, bawdiest teacher. Sat my ass down and said, girlfriend, it's time to grow. And I got a sticky, you take it off a calendar, and it has an adhesive in the back, and it says, shut up and meditate. And it was sent to me with one of the 4 agreements. And I said, well, obviously I need to meditate, and I need to just really settle myself. And it was hard at first, but then if I just kept sitting down and trying to center my mind, I started this journey of meditation. And I found that when I wasn't meditating on a regular basis I wasn't doing it every day. I think it was 3 times a week for months, even a year. And then it went to 4 times a week. Then it went to 5. And now if I don't do it every day, we're talking many, many years later, if I don't do it every day, and now my daughter is doing it too, we feel like we don't have a leg. A leg is missing. An arm is missing. So it's integral to just be connected to something bigger, I think. It depends on how we describe what's going on outside of our bodies and ourselves, but it's like a tether, and it kind of anchors. Is that
absolutely.
It's expressing that?
It's your way of expressing it. So how can it not be right?
Right.
It's bigger than ourselves, right? When we let go and release and surrender, that's when the change happens,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know we have only a few seconds left. I want to be very mindful of your time, but I want to play a little game with you real quick,
Please.
if you don't mind. And this is a little fun game I play with my guests, and it's just a word association. I'm going to throw out one word, and I want you to come back with the first word that comes to
Sure.
mind. Just one word from the conversation we've been having today. That's when I write these down. So you ready?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. Model.
Diva.
I love that. Curve.
Celebrate.
Sound.
Healing.
Cancer.
Thriver.
Beauty.
Joy.
Bullying.
Sad.
Mental.
Health.
Healing.
Bring it on. That's more than one word, but bring it on.
I am giving that to you. Athlete.
Celebrate.
Joy.
Essential.
Delicious. That's my word.
Yummy.
Emme, oh my gosh, yummy, 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 yummy. I am so delighted to have you here. And if I just can give you a moment to share final thoughts with listeners of Hilistically Speaking.
Holistically Speaking listeners, you are at the right place at the right time. I am so, so happy to join you, Hilary, with your passion, getting out different ways of feeling good. And I so, so appreciate joining you today and having a lot of fun with you. Thank you for what you do.
It's just the beginning.
It is.
If you want to connect with Emme to find out more about her True Beauty Foundation, to find out more about her coaching, or even her sound healing, just visit her website or her social media. I'll have all those links in the podcast notes. Of course, I'd love to hear from you on how Hilistically Speaking has touched, moved, and inspired you in any way, whether it's this episode or another, or maybe all of them. Listen, you have a number of ways to amplify your voice and tell me how you feel. Go to speakpipe.com/holistically speaking and leave your comments, or you can even email us. And I have that email in the listen notes as well. And you can even take it one step further. And I encourage you to do so. Pay it forward with this episode. Share this conversation with a friend or a family member, someone you know that could use a reminder of their true beauty and that it exists deep within. And remember to sign up for that Havening Happy Hour that is happening online January 31st. This is a chance to be kind to your mind, to take your thoughts, moods, behaviors, and habits and rapidly change them. Have me as your guide and neuroscience on your side. I cannot wait to see you there. We're going to make some revelations in this new year as we move into the second month. Hilistically Speaking is edited by Two Market Media with music by Lipone Redding and, of course, listened to by you. And if I can leave you with anything, it's that you're beautiful just the way you are. So be kind to yourself, be kind to your mind, know that I love you, I believe in you, and I will see you next week. Be well.
I know the girl with mountains